Good morning. You are welcome to the presentation on the topic Direct Taxes 1. Okay, what do you mean by direct tax? Direct tax is a tax paid directly to the government by a person or organization. In the case of direct tax, burden can't be shifted by the taxpayer to someone else. These are largely taxes on income or wealth. Direct tax is a type of tax where the incidence and the impact of taxation fall on the same person or entity. Take the example of income tax. Say if you earn the income, then you only need to pay the tax. You have to pay the tax to the government. You cannot pass it on to somebody else. So the incidence and the burden of paying the tax, it is with you only, and it cannot be passed on to any other person, unlike in the case of indirect taxes. In the case of indirect taxes, ultimately the tax will be borne by the consumer, and indirect tax will be mostly on goods and services. Okay, examples of direct tax: income tax, wealth tax. Now it is not relevant. Corporation tax, property tax, inheritance tax, etc. Now let me give you a general idea as to how tax is being assessed and how the tax is collected, etc. But before that, why income tax is being levied? In India, for income tax, you have got one statute, that is Indian Income Tax Act 1961, and it is updated or amended every year, and that will be through Finance Act. Okay, why income tax is being levied? What are the two objectives of levying income tax? First one is to generate revenue, to collect revenue. So if more and more people fall under the tax net, the government will get more and more taxes. Without taxes, government cannot run its show. Therefore, revenue is required, and therefore income tax is being levied. So it is one of the sources of revenue to the government, like any other income. Secondly, to achieve social justice. How it is achieved? By causing people with higher income to pay tax at progressively higher rate. For example, if the income of an individual, ordinary individual, is 2,50,000, up to 2,50,000, no tax will be levied. If the income is above 2,50,000 but not beyond 5 lakh, on that 2,50,000, tax will be levied at 5%. But if the income is more than 5 lakh but not more than 10 lakh, on that above 5 lakh income, that is 5 lakh, tax will be levied at the rate of 20%. And if a person's income is above, say 10 lakh, any income above 10 lakh will be levied with a tax at 30%. So thus, income tax will be, the tax rate will be progressively at a higher rate if the income is very high. So if the income is low, tax rate is less. If the income is high, tax rate is high. So thus, collecting more from rich and giving concession to poor or with low income, thereby you are achieving social justice. And moreover, under Indian Income Tax Act, those who set up industries or businesses in underdeveloped areas, they might be given some concession so that there will be balanced regional development. So these are the two objectives of Indian Income Tax Act. Now we'll learn certain concepts like finance bill. What is finance bill? Every year, finance minister announces the budget, and then that will be discussed and deliberated in the budget session of the parliament. In the budget session of the Parliament, Finance Minister will present his proposals in the form of Finance Bill. On the Finance Bill, lot of discussions happen, lot of deliberations happen, and if it is accepted or if it passes through the Parliament, then it will become Finance Act. In the Finance Act, rates of income tax will be fixed. So, depending upon the need, the government may bring about some changes in the income tax rates, and similarly bring some income under tax net, or give some concessions, or there will be exemptions, deductions, etc. So, all these amendments are brought in through Finance Act. Okay, now we'll learn some of the concepts which are very much used in taxation, like previous year. What is previous year? Previous year is a period of 12 months immediately preceding the assessment year. Previous year is a period of 12 months immediately preceding means prior, before, preceding the assessment year. It's a normally a period of 12 months. So, for example, if a person earns the income in the year 2019-20, so that year is called previous year. Income of that year will be assessed for tax in the next financial year, and that is called assessment year. What is financial year? Financial year starts from 1st April and ends on 31st March of next year. For example, 1920. It starts on 1st April of 2019 and ends on 31st March of 2020. Okay, so previous year is the year of earning the income. In the first year, it need not be of 12 months. For example, if a person starts his business on 1st August, then his previous year will be from August to next 31st March. So August, September, October, November, December, 5 months, and again 3 months, together 8 months. But in subsequent years, it will be a period of 12 months. Okay, what is assessment year? Assessment year is a year in which income of the previous year will be assessed for tax. Normally, previous year and assessment year are different. For example, previous year is 2019-20, assessment year will be 2021. But under certain circumstances, previous year and assessment year will be one and the same. So all those things you will learn later on. Now let us know who is a person. Person does not mean an individual. Person is a broader concept under Indian Income Tax Act, and it includes an individual, HUA of Hindu Undivided Family, a firm, a company, a cooperative society, artificial juridical person, etc. Similarly, who is an SSE? SSE is a person by whom tax is payable to the government. So income tax will be levied on such individual whose income is beyond a certain limit. He has to file income tax returns. Similarly, refund could be made to the SSE if he has paid more taxes. Apart from ordinary SSEs, there are other types of SSEs like deemed SSE. Deemed SSE means that includes legal representatives, then agent of a non-resident, then guardian of a minor. So these are all called SSE. Deemed SSE. These are called deemed SSEs. Then there is one more type of SSE, SSE in default. SSE in default means if a default is caused by a person who has to deduct a tax from the source and then remit the income tax to the income tax department, such an SSE is called SSE in default. For example, an employer is paying the salaries to the employees, But while paying the salaries, certain amount must be deducted as a tax. We call that TDS, tax deducted at source. And that tax deducted at source must be remitted to the income tax department from time to time. He cannot hold the amount with him. Number one, he has to deduct the taxes. Number two, he has to remit the income tax to the income tax department. If he is a defaulter, if he fails to do that, he is called assessee in default. Okay, these are some concepts I have explained. Later on you will learn more and more about all these concepts. You are going to study in detail. Now let us see the scheme of taxation for the assessment year 2020-21. Dear students, any income for that matter that should fall under any one of the 5 heads of income. There are 5 heads of income under Indian Income Tax Act. The income will be taxed under any one of the heads. Okay, first one is income from salaries. If you are a salaried person, on the salaries you receive, you have to pay the taxes. And then, of course, there is a procedure to calculate taxable salary. Like you have to consider basic pay, and then DA, taxable DP, DNS pay, and then all taxable allowances, and similarly taxable part of park visits. So many other things are there. So together you have to calculate the gross total income, and there are certain deductions like a standard deduction under section 16, then entertainment allowance in the case of government employees, and professional tax which is applicable to everyone under section 16. Then you will get a taxable salary. Similarly, there is a procedure for calculating the income under house property. Actually, there are 2 divisions under house property. One is income from let out house property, the other one is income from self-occupied house property. Similarly, income from business or profession. Okay, if you are running the business or you have taken up profession, then the tax is going to be levied under the head income from business or profession. Then capital gains. If there is transfer of any capital asset during the year, and if there is any gain or profit, that will be taxed under the head capital gains. Then any income which does not fall under any of the previous 4 heads, that will fall under the head income from other sources. We call that a residual head, the head which remains after all the previous heads. Okay, now when you add up all the taxable incomes under different heads, then you will get gross total income. And from the gross total income, you are entitled to certain deductions under section 80. That is starting from 80C to 80U. There are several deductions, but all the deductions are not equally applicable to all types of assessees. For example, deductions which are applicable in the case of individual need not be applicable in the case of, for example, company or partnership. Similarly, deductions applicable to a company need not be applicable to individuals. So thus, there are different deductions, but all are not equally applicable to all types of assessees. And one more thing, total deductions under section 80 cannot exceed gross total income. Okay, gross total income will be rounded off to the nearest 10. Then the calculation of taxes. Of course, I'm taking the example of an individual, that to general assessee, not the senior citizen or super senior citizen. Supposing his, on the first 2,50,000 of his total income, which you calculate here, the tax rate will be nil, and that is exempt, totally exempt. But on the next 2,50,000, that is above 2,50,000, not above 5 lakh, on the 2,50,000, tax will be at the rate of 5%. That comes to 12,500. And on the income above 5 lakh, but not above 10 lakh, I mean to say the difference is 5 lakh. On that 20% tax will be levied. That comes to 1 lakh. 1 lakh plus here it is 12,500. So 1 lakh 12,500. If the income exceeds 10 lakh, then on the balance of total income, tax will be levied at 30%. So thus you will get total taxes here. Then, of course, if your income exceeds say 50 lakh but not beyond 1 crore, there is a concept called surcharge, tax on tax. And if it exceeds 1 crore, then 15% surcharge will be levied, and that will be added to these taxes. But if your income does not exceed say 5 lakh, then you are entitled to a rebate under section 87E, and that is to the extent of 12,500. If your income is taxable income is more than 5 lakh, of course you are not entitled to this rebate under 87E. Okay, now on the total of taxes plus surcharge, one more tax is calculated, that is called health and higher education cess. This is calculated on almost all taxes, 4% on the total value. This is total value. And now you are calculating total taxable, total tax payable. It should be total tax payable. Now if you already paid some taxes, supposing the employer has already deducted some taxes under TDS, then the total TDS will be deducted from the total tax payable, and the remaining tax has to be payable. Balance of tax has to be payable by you. On the other hand, if you have paid more taxes, like there is more TDS, say total tax payable is say 2 lakh and TDS is 2,25,000. 25,000 you have paid more, so you are entitled for refund, tax refund. On the other hand, if you have paid just 1,80,000, still you need to pay 20,000. So thus, that is what you have to do. All these things also I have told. Surcharge means tax on tax. So before applying rebate under section 87A, if applicable, surcharge will be calculated and it will be added to the taxes. And surcharge will be at the rate of 10% if the total income exceeds 50 lakh and it does not exceed 1 crore. But if total income exceeds 1 crore, then the surcharge rate is 15%. So thank you.